On this slide, I'm going to model how to write and solve a two-step equation. First, I'm going to read over the information that's given up top. Miss Harrington is a server at a restaurant. On a weekend night, she earns $4 an hour and $65 in tips. As always, I highlight or underline or circle important information. $4 an hour. Well, I know that's a rate. And whenever I see a rate, I always think multiply. I think it's helpful to think about what the words really mean in the problems. Another piece of information is $65 in tips. I circled the tips as well because that's important. Tips are extra money we're making. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be adding that. All right, let's read the question. If Miss Harrington works for 5 hours, how much money will she make? Make sure to show and explain your reasoning. All right, so 5 hours, that's important information. And with this information that I was given up here, that for each hour she makes $4, then I know I need to multiply each of these hours by 4. So $4 multiplied by the 5 hours will give me $20. Well, on top of the $20, I know, like I said before, she's going to make that money from her tips, which is $65. So the money she made with her hourly wage and the money she made in tips together will give her $85. Okay, well, that's my final answer, but I have to make sure that I write something up. So I wrote up, Miss Harrington will make $85 if she works for 5 hours. I know this because for each of the 5 hours, she will make $4, which gives her $20. And then I know I need to add the $65 she made in tips, which gives her $85. I made sure that I restated my question and my answer and that I was using correct units and symbols like my $sign. I tried to include some academic vocabulary with the operations that I used. All right, the next thing it says is write an equation to represent a situation if she made $93. Let X equal the number of hours she worked. All right, well, the total $93 is really important, and where I define my variable is really important. Okay, so I know what I'm going to really do is look at her hourly wage and the tips, and those together should equal $93. Well, the tips aren't going to change based off how much or how many hours she works. No matter what, it's $65 in tips. The $4 an hour, that will depend on the number of hours she works. So I'm going to multiply the $4 by the number of hours she's working. So this represents my hourly wage, and this represents the tips I'm going to make. Those two together will equal $93. All right, the next question says, how many hours did Miss Harrington work? Well, the number of hours is our X. So what I'm really doing is just solving this equation. So let's bring that down. 4X plus 65 equals 93. I always solve two-step equations with do and undo charts. Well, by do, I'm asking what's happening to my X. So I'm multiplying my X by 4, and then I'm adding 65. To get my X all alone and solve for it, I need to do the opposite operations in the opposite order. So first, I'm going to subtract 65 from both sides of my equation. Because whatever you do to one side of an equation, you must do to the other. Well, 65 minus 65 is 0, so I'm left with this 4x equals, and 93 minus 65 is 28. Okay, so I subtracted 65 from both sides. The next step I'm going to do from both sides is divide by 4. So divide by 4 over here, and divide by 4 over here. X will equal 7. All right, so that's my answer, but I need to make sure that I write out an explanation as well. So Miss Harrington will have to work for 7 hours. I found this by thinking backwards. In order to find out what she needs to make with her hourly wage, I subtracted the $65 in tips from the total she made, which left her with $28 made by her hourly rate. I then divided that by $4 she made each hour to find how many hours she worked for, which left her with 7 hours. So make sure to use this slide as a model when you're doing the next one on your own. Good luck!